everyone, and welcome back to my workshop. It's been a very busy few days here since my last video. Last weekend a guy brought up an HPI Savage which had a huge engine in it. He couldn't get the thing to start, so we had to tinker with it up here, adjusted the carburetor, put the starter on it, and off it went. And believe me, it was one of the most fastest radio controlled cars I think I've ever driven. Back into the workshop here at my cars. It's been a busy week. A lot of new parts have arrived to go on my Neo 3.0, which I'll talk you through in a minute. It's now 9:30 on Saturday night, the 3rd of April here. Tomorrow I would be racing. Well, it's not necessarily a race tomorrow. It's like a practice and tryout day over at the Kent Model Rallycross track over near Maidstone, so I'm going to be going over there. I found a bargain on one of their Facebook pages the other day where I bought a Picco V1 engine, which is one of these. This is a Picco engine. It's had a trial fitment in the car, but I wasn't happy running it during the practice session, or certainly not during a race meeting either, because it needs a bit of fettling on the clutch. It's got an Aramax clutch in it, which I need to do a little bit of grinding on it to make it fit properly. I think it's fitting okay now. It looks a lot better than what it was when I trial fitted it, but I might put that engine in for the second half of the practice session tomorrow. Both cars are going to be coming with me. The Novarossi engine is still in this car, my Neo 3.0, with its new body shell on it, and the original Kyosho KE21 SP is in my Neo 2.0. That's ironically got the Neo 3.0 body shell on it, so the cars look completely different. Tomorrow I want to try and run about 30 to 40 laps across both cars. Really want to test out some of the adjustments I've made. Had a lot of problems on this car this afternoon. We've had relations over for an outdoor meal this afternoon, so I haven't had that much chance to do any work on the car. I fitted the new high flow air filter to the car the other day. Had my first chance to fire it up this evening in the garden and run it around the garden, and it was behaving as if it had fuel starvation. I've now adjusted the carburetor, run it around again, and I was rapidly running out of daylight, and I had to get the car loaded up, but I think it's okay now. But any more fine tuning I can do at the track tomorrow. So you can just about see the first modification I put on the car this week. I put the front anti-roll bar in, that goes down in there and it connects the two sides together. That should make the front a little bit stiffer, but it should also stop body roll as well. That's pretty essential in a couple of weeks' time when we start racing at the Ada track, which is AstroTurf and is really grippy. The front anti-roll bar was very straightforward to fit. In fact, for the front there were 3 bars in there. A medium, a stiff and a light roll bar in there. We've now got the light one on. It bolts on at the back of the suspension there. I can't quite see it in there, but that was a straightforward fit. And bearing in mind, I bought this car second hand, and the 2 little clamps that hold the anti-roll bar in place, I thought they were missing, but they're actually bolted in there, and they were there all the time. And then it fits in there. You can just see the anti-roll bar going in there, and it runs across in there. That should stiffen the front up. We've got the high flow air filter on. That's all been oiled in now. That oiled that in a couple of nights ago. That's all soaked in. There's a really nice smell coming from the oil in there. Got the Novarossi engine in there. Fuel tank's been drained down. I've got the mudguard on the rear mudguard on there. That was clean on there this afternoon. You can see where I ran it around the garden on the lawn just before I put the camera on. It's done its job already. It stops the mud getting onto the car. Let's just spin the back of the car around. There's the rear anti-roll bar again. Those 2 little brackets that hold the roll bar in place, they were there all the time. It's just a case of unscrewing them, mounting the anti-roll bar in, screwing them back on again. It's a very similar setup on the rear as it was on the front. The roll bar goes in there, and it should hopefully stiffen the car up and stop everything rolling around again, making us a lot more stable on AstroTurf. That's the box from my Picco engine. Again, that's a Picco V1. I paid 150 quid for it, which is a really good bargain. The guy who I bought it from tells me that it's only had 4 tanks of fuel through it on like the running in bench. I don't know how that's going to behave. But it had been in a Lozzie car. I don't know what type of thread lock he'd used to mount the engine mount in, but I had to cut the bolts out with a Dremel. Goodness knows what's gluing those in place, because I can't shift them. Luckily, one of the screws came out, but the other one, again, I had to cut it off with a Dremel. There's a little bit of scoring on the crankcase of the engine as a result. Fuel filters have just been cleaned out. Some of you on the Kyosho fan page asked me where my cylinder head protector's from. They're just made up from some fuel tube and some cable ties. Anyway, I'm going to put the body on. I'm going to have an early-ish night, a cup of cocoa and a cucumber sandwich, and then we'll head down to the track tomorrow. Anyway, it's gone 9:30 here. In fact, it's actually closer to 10 o'clock now. I'm going to go to bed, and we'll have a nice early start tomorrow, and we'll see you down at the track tomorrow. It's Easter Sunday, the 4th of April. The sun's here. We're over at the Kent Rallycross circuit. We've been here since this morning. It's just gone lunchtime now. First thing I did when I got here was do a track walk. We're going to do the track walk in a minute, and I'll talk you through some of the parts I went through. I had a bit of a disaster this morning. The clutch in the Novarossi engine gave up the ghost completely. Quickly shoehorned in the Picco engine. Within a couple of laps, the glowplug burnt out. So I've now put in the car show engine. I've run a few laps with that. But before we do that, let's go and have a track walk from first thing this morning about 10 o'clock when it was cold and it was really, really cloudy.
I'm going to go slow over these ones because you reckon you'll end up breaking the tyre if you go fast over these. Just for now, because I've got no spare parts.
This bend's a bit like Beecher's Brook or the Canal Turn on the Aintree Grand National Circuit. Bloody hell, is that high? This ramp wasn't here last year. This is all new.
Yeah, well, it used to be here, didn't it?
Nice double whoops. Yeah, it binds all the clay and the soil together better. That's got the track walk out of the way. Let's go and start one of the cars up and let's drive a lap of the new look Kent Model Rallycross circuit. hopefully enjoyed that. Everything's up and running now. I'm okay with the equipment. I'm going to go home, spend some time in the workshop, get the car sorted out, and I'm back here next week for a day's racing. So it's now Sunday night. We're back in the workshop. I've unloaded the car, got the cars in. I've got two very, very dirty cars next to me. These are going to need some cleaning up before we go racing again next Saturday in the opening round over at Kent Model Rallycross Club. Some of you might be thinking, why didn't I just put another glow plug in the Picco engine when the glow plug failed? The Picco engine is a much more modern engine to some of the other engines I've got, and it requires a special type of glow plug, which is called a turbo glow plug. It's got like a conical end to it, and also the pitch on the threads as it screws into the cylinder head is a lot finer as well. And I didn't have any turbo glow plugs with me. I've just had a quick look on the internet to try and find some Picco glow plugs, and I think I found some up in Hertfordshire, so I'm going to get those on ordered. Otherwise, I'll have to have a different engine in for next weekend. Not sure what engine I'm going to run next weekend. This car, that's the first time I've actually driven it on a track, and I only used it because I had to. It didn't handle too badly at all, even with these cheap Chinese tyres on it. Next weekend, I think I'm going to run the Neo 3.0 with all of its modifications on it. I really am scratching my head now as to what engine goes in it. Do I run the Picco or do I put one of the Coyotes into it? I'm not sure what's wrong with the Novarossi. It wasn't running properly. In the end, the clutch disintegrated, so I'm going to have a look at that as well. In the meantime, it's Easter Sunday. I'm going to go and stuff myself full of curry, beer and chocolate eggs. I'm not sure in what order I'm going to do that in. Well, probably start off with the curry, then move on to the chocolate eggs. This morning it was absolutely freezing when I arrived at the track, and it's now quite a pleasant, warm evening here. First thing this morning, I could barely steer the car because my fingers were so cold. There's probably a hell of a lot of rather tired drivers and committee members out now that are going to be having a long hot bath later on. I know I'm certainly going to be. That's the first run out on an outdoor track I've had since October. It was hard work, but it was really, really exhilarating, and I think I got somewhere after doing the test lap today. So I'm going to stop waffling now. I'm going to go and have my dinner. Thanks for watching, and I'll probably do another video either before, after, or during the first race proper over at Kent next week. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.